This is Still Here Hollywood's 10-Minute Takes, bite-sized chapters of our favorite chats with the stars. Hi, I'm Steve Kmetko, and here's the last of 7 chapters with actor Steven Weber from Wings and Chicago Med.
So what were you thinking the morning after Wings ended?
Well, in a way, I was too young to think deeply about the future. I thought this is the way it's always going to be. I've reached this rhythm, this pitch of how to work, and I would always be at this level. I was deceiving myself because I kind of maintained it for a little while, but without the quality of the writing and of a show like Wings, I was adrift a little bit. But still, I was able to find good jobs. I was on a show called Once and Again. I did guest spots in some movies and stuff. But at the same time, I have to say the cast of Wings was fairly, like I said earlier, humble. They're fairly realistic. It's hard not to get infected by the affirmation and the success that you experience. But by the same token, I always told myself that I'm just a regular guy, and I'm gonna try to do some theater and just keep acting. So I wasn't depressed necessarily, but you learn some valuable lessons when you're not on must-see TV anymore. And you learn lessons about gratitude and about taking yourself seriously. And as I was alluding to that earlier, it took me a long time of living some more life in conjunction with being off that hit show, in which I was able to regain some balance. And as a result, I'm still working and finding pleasure in it and finding meaning in it.
You mentioned that you had worked with Matthew Perry.
Yeah.
His passing seems so unfair.
Yeah.
Is that how you thought about it, or did you have any particular emotions about it?
Yeah. Unfair. It's such an interesting thing to ascribe to somebody who has had so much success and wealth and opportunity. But what he did have was a very human quality, which is pain and demons and all those other things, addiction, and which can seep into anybody, no matter how successful or happy they seem. I knew him. I worked with him. I didn't have kind of an intimate friendship with him, and I was able to observe him when we were on Studio 60, and he was incredibly professional. I didn't see any sign of the things that people allude to now, or then, for that matter. He was consummately professional, always prepared, and a great actor. He could do it all, and I confess that I wanted him to be my friend. So I was trying not to fanboy when I worked with him. He was a good guy. And look, I've developed a lot more empathy than I used to have, and especially getting older and seeing contemporaries fall away, or get ill, or kind of leave the planet. And so I think of him, and I think of his difficulties with respect, and sympathy. So.
Empathy and sympathy don't seem to go with someone who is as outspoken as you can be, as you talked about the things you've written online, that you can't let some things go, you have to respond.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
I absolutely think it's inherent in the medium itself. Those algorithms seem to kind of aggregate a person's rage. They give a person the feeling of power because they don't have to confront the person or the issue face to face. They can be keyboard warriors. They can ruminate and then spew it out into the ether without real consequence. Where'd that come from? I mean, I have opinions. I keep up on the news with the news, and but also I have my biases, and I fall into the same traps that I think a lot of people do, the kind of confirmation bias. I know what I believe, I know what I like, so I'll be damned if I'm going to listen to somebody spewing horrible stuff into the air. So I prefer my news sources that I guess appeal to me. That said, I like to keep I like to find a variety of news sources, and in this day and age, boy, people have have knee-jerk responses to things. One of the things that you and I have witnessed, and a lot of people our age, especially in the industry, is that we went from kind of analog to digital virtually overnight, and it's the kind of excision of that moment of pondering that is really, I think, has a lot to do with how people respond and how easily they get baited and drawn into arguments without a moment to kind of ponder and chew on things and, do you know what I mean, and assess them. Then we just go in and respond and react. And I feel like with the advent of the 24-hour news cycle, and I actually have a theory. I hope I'm not blabbering, but that this started in New York City in the maybe late 70s, early 80s, when we come from the time when at 12 midnight the TV sets would turn to snow. They would play the national anthem, and that's it. 6 a.m. Sunrise Semester would be on, or something like that. And but some smart aleck said, you know what? There's people up at 2:45. Let's show some Mary Tyler Moore shows. I think that's what they did. They showed an hour of Mary Tyler Moore reruns, and they got huge ratings. And so that was like, let's go. And so every bit of kind of real estate that used to be reserved for rest has now been taken up and exploited. And I think that's where that comes from. And I'm just human, Steve. I know I have a swimmer's build, but I fall into that trap. I really think that I've got to pull back. So I have a life to live, and I don't want to live it, arguing with some schmuck in his basement.
Are you happy?
Yeah, I am happy. And I'm happy because I feel like I've earned this happiness. I'm still exploring it. If that makes sense.
Has it changed over the years because of the business and living here and the success you've found?
I mean, the things that make me happy now are basically centered around the happiness of my children and the people that I love, and the seriousness with which I take a task or a job. They're less superficial kind of happinesses in a way. I don't find as much happiness or joy in, I don't drink anymore, but of getting tipsy or getting high, or I find happiness in being more present. I've been doing a lot of traveling with my family, and that's been really kind of eye-opening, whereas I used to just do it very superficially and enjoy the trappings of travel. Now I like to go and actually experience what it is that I'm doing and where I am, if that makes sense. I'm just taking things a little more seriously, and that makes me happy.
Where's your favorite place to go?
I've been to Spain a few times, and that's amazing. I love London. I've been an Anglophile all my life, and actually had the opportunity to work at the Old Vic years back. Let's say London, Spain. I've been to islands. I've been to Africa. I've been to India. I think it's really important to try to get out of your bubble. When I say your bubble, I mean America. And I think the second somebody does that, the second their head will crack open in the best sense. I think Spain, for my money, that was incredible. Have you been? Of course you've been.
No, I haven't been to
You
Spain.
haven't?
No, I haven't been to Spain.
Brother, Barcelona. Oh, my God. Incredible.
I always think of that Sondheim song. Where you going?
Barcelona. That's right.
Oh. Thanks, Stephen.
Thank you, Steve.
I appreciate it.
You're welcome, Stephen.
Still Here Hollywood is a production of the Still Here Network. All things technical run by Justin Zangerly. Theme music by Brian Sanashin. And executive producer is Jim Lichtenstein.